Step number 8. We've now got to fit this shock tower assembly to the gearbox. And it all moves. Beautiful. Alright, so next we've got to assemble the rear arms. We've got the hub, arms come in 2 halves. And the hub's held on with these sort of little pin thingy-majigs. With built-in thread on that end. Beautiful. Alright, step number 10. Step number 10. We now got to attach all this lot to the main gearbox. I'm a bit cack-handed here, guys. I'm trying to do it on camera and the camera's in the way. So this would actually be a lot easier to build if it wasn't there. There you go, step number 11 complete, and that is, by the looks of it, the rear end almost done. Alright, next page. Hey, we've got another differential. So, same again, by the looks of it, as the rear end. I'll tell you what, guys, that is one thing with Tamiya kits. They're just such a joy to build. They're really sort of put together with a sort of the builder in mind. So that the whole part of the hobby is sort of enjoyable to build. The playing with them, the repairs, everything. And there's just something about Tamiyas that just make the whole build process, and just what they are, just that little bit special. I don't know what it is. I mean, they're not any good for bashing really, but well, they might be nowadays, but you know, they don't really take that much of a beating. They're not really that high performance, but there's just something about them. Alright, step number 12 done. Step number 13. So, front gearbox, diff, bearing, another bearing, cover, screw him on, and job done. Step number 13. Step number 14. Alright, front gearbox part. The good thing is with these guys, they're all labelled. Each number's labelled. So you've got D parts and then all the numbers on there. So it's easy to identify what parts you need throughout the whole entire build. Alright, so there you go. Step number 14 done. Step number 15. Just got to put these gears into the front gearbox. Get a bit of lube in there. Lovely. What I would recommend if you're building this kit to actually use, I would definitely buy a proper bearing kit and replace all these plastic bushes and stuff with proper ball races. But this is going to be more something just to sit on the shelf and look pretty, so not really needed. There we go, step number 15 complete. Step number 16. So we've got front shock tower, got upper arms. So we've got to look again on here at where this little knobbly thing is, and that is here. Alright, next we now have to fit it onto here. And actually, back in the day, this is the part that always used to break. If you rolled it over and knocked this on something, these used to break off so often. I broke no end of these. Everything else was actually pretty strong. I never broke any arms, I never broke these. It's always the upper shock tower on the front, always. Step number 16 complete. Step 17, front knuckles. Bit of lube on that one. And that is step number 17 complete. Alright, step number 18, front arms and knuckles. So that is one nice thing with Tamiya, everything just fits together perfect. Even in there, they've moulded the thread into there. Well, either they've moulded it in there or they've actually cut it in there afterwards, but it's definitely got a thread in there. Probably cut the thread actually. I doubt it would even be possible to mould the thread in there. So if there are any experts out there, leave me a note in the comments. Could that thread be moulded in there, or was it put in afterwards? Alright, so that's step number 18 done. Step number 19. We've got to fit these front arms to the gearbox. This, I remember, this is what holds the wishbones on the front. Yeah, I do vaguely remember these drive shafts being a more silvery colour and it not having that little blobble thing in the middle there. We'll have a look at that when this build's done and compare it to the old original one I've got up on the shelf in a minute. Ah. Alright, step number 19 done. Alright, step number 20. We're going to start on the shocks. I've got gloves on for this. We've been messing about with this oil and it can get messy. Alright, so shock body, O-ring, spacer thingy-majig, another O-ring and the end cap. These, I'm pretty sure these have changed. Because I don't remember the piston being part of it. I seem to remember putting a couple of E-clips on there. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Leave me a note in the comments, guys, if you can remember what the official, like the original version had. Yeah, that wants a bit of oil on that shaft before we put it in, so it runs nice and smoothly. Alright, and then we've got to put on the little rod end thingy-majig. And I do remember back in the day on the original Manta, I'm pretty sure in the instructions it said to hold the shock shaft with a pair of side cutters right on the end, because that way you don't damage the shaft where it goes through past the O-rings. But on this one, they tell you to grip it like that with a piece of paper wrapped over, and to me, that's more likely to damage it actually, because if that starts slipping in there, it's going to wear through the paper, it's going to scratch the shaft, and then you're going to lose all your oil. So I'm just going to screw that in until we get to the end of the thread. Alright, I'm going to turn the camera off because I've just got to do the exact same again. Alright, next, step number 21. This is the part where we fill up the shocks with oil and probably make all the mess. So it says in there, pull the piston and pull the oil into the cylinder. Remove air bubbles by slowly moving piston up and down. Alright, so I'm going to let that chill for a minute, let the air bubbles come out, and then I'll put you back on. Alright, so it's been 5 minutes, all these bubbles have come to the top. Now we can put this little, I don't even know what it's called. What's this thing called? Black oil seal. Let the excess oil dribble out, and then we can go ahead and put the lid on. That is actually pretty damn smooth. Alright, so that's it for part number 2. Part 3 coming up next. Alright guys, hope you liked this video. If you did, you know what you gotta do. Thumbs up, subscribe, share. Alright guys, see you soon.